This morning, I opened my eyes to a bit of green world drenched with sunshine seen through the window of my room. That rain last night seemed to have given the earth another lease on beauty, and I shall spend the early hours pottering among the roses in my garden. For I feel the need of seeing beauty, touching beauty, filling my soul with beauty to take away the unpleasant taste that a glimpse into the stark tragedy of life has left in my mouth, a glimpse that has ruffled the smooth waters of my otherwise placid existence. I have told Angge to open wide the windows of my little house and let the sunshine in, all but the window of Conchita's room, which for the last few days has been blind to the green witchery of May. And somehow the thought of that closed window and the woman inside darkens even such an irresistibly gay morning as this for me. For Conchita has always been my favorite niece, and she knows it, that she has only to look at me through these incredibly long lashes of hers, and I am clay in her small hands. Perhaps, too, because once, not so long ago, she stood for all I have missed in life: youth, color, beauty, laughter, and song. And yet, Conchita was not exactly beautiful even in those days. It was only a pretty girl I hurried to meet at the seashore of the little island of Marinduque some 2 months before her wedding. Upon receiving a letter announcing that she would spend these months with me in the little world that was green the whole year round, where I had buried myself.
What business have you to be running around on the eve of your wedding?
Cha, I am giving Tristan some weeks of perfect freedom before taking a fatal misstep. An opportunity to think again before allowing a woman spoil his life.
Did he let you come? Willingly?
And why not? He does as he pleases and I do as I please.
Oh, in my days, lovers are pleased to do the same thing.
I do not believe it. They only pretended. And there's no pretense between Tristan and me.
It was an amazing attitude to me. But why match their ideals with my own yesterday? I asked myself. But Conchita had her moments of sheer loveliness, when the subtle beauty of hers became as definite as the beauty of the sea, the moon, the stars. These changes were as breathtaking as having attuned the taste of the refinement of a Japanese print. One was suddenly called upon to admire a Fra Angelico. And she looked her loveliest that day when Tristan unexpectedly arrived from the city. She ran to the gate with a smile of welcome on her scarlet lips. They met among my beloved roses. It was a picture that often comes to my mind during these days. A beautiful girl in a childish one-piece dress with an organic sash fluttering in the breeze, and a travel-stained young man very much in love among the red and white flowers of my garden.
I can't help it any longer, Chita.
But your patients.
Forget about them. Most of them are so sick anyway. It is high time for them to die without my help.
Do not joke, Tristan. I suppose they should call another doctor, huh?
My dear heart, please be kind.
He had the most absurd pet names for her. I learned in the days that followed, and he was very generous in the use of them. It was moments later when they remembered me. Hand in hand, they made their way to the porch where I stood waiting.
You must be the famous auntie of the family.
And you must be the prospective nephew.
I believe so.
Come on in, you must be exhausted from the trip.
I liked him immediately. This young-looking man with a melodious name. There was something disarming in his crooked smile, in his dark hair that curled slightly in spite of his efforts to keep it straight. And his eyes were beautiful, eyes that seemed to see visions in a crystal globe, or in a sunset, the misty moonlight, or in the living vistas of an open fire. So unusual in a doctor to whom life is a matter of flesh and blood and bones. That evening, after dinner, I sat in the scented dimness of the porch, and perhaps because the pleasant young pair in the garden, perhaps because of the beautiful moonlight and the fragrance around, the world seemed more than even good to me. Unconsciously, I dozed off.
But you have to return to the city by the next boat.
I will not leave this place without you.
Don't worry, I will follow immediately.
Why the hurry?
Because your patients are waiting for you.
Who cares? There's so many doctors in the city.
But there's only one doctor I want to succeed.
Would my success mean much to you, Chita?
Very much, Tristan. Very much.
And where's Tristan?
Still in the garden for his last smoke, Chang.
What do you really love, Chita? The man or his future?
Both.
In silence we went to bed, but sleep eluded me that night. I tossed restlessly through the long night, a vague, undefinable foreboding in my heart. But the early morning dispelled it. I woke up to find Conchita gone. She was very human in the days that followed, more like Denise who had spent all her summer vacation with me during her early girlhood.
I could live here forever, you know?
Why don't you?
That's an idea. I would love to be the town doctor. You know, my father was one. But I suppose I may not.
He had the loveliest thoughts about her, and I hoped, prayed, that he would always feel that way towards Conchita, tender and very much in love. Reluctantly, he left us the next morning. He told me that they shall spend their honeymoon here as he bade me goodbye. Three days after the wedding in the city, I received a letter from Conchita telling me that Tristan had so many patients that she had decided to postpone their honeymoon. "Some other tomorrow" was her last words in her letter. During the next 5 years, I watched with interest the meteoric rise of Dr. Tristan de la Rosa. From the ranks of obscure city doctors to the assistant directorship of a hospital and the lecturer's chair of a university. And I wondered how Conchita was taking this success. I believed that her ambitions had put him where he was. one day, Conchita arrived, unannounced and alone. I sensed that something was wrong, but I refrained from asking questions until she had been with me for several days.
How is Tristan getting along?
I don't know, Cham.
What do you mean?
That he is so busy. That he spends all his days and most of his nights at the hospital. Successful doctors are apt to forget that they have homes.
But isn't that what you wanted him to be? You even sacrificed your honeymoon for that.
I told him that we needed rest and suggested that we have our delayed honeymoon.
And what did he say?
He said that it would be the most unprofitable way of spending his time and advised me to go without him.
The words gave me an idea of how far Tristan has gone from the highways of his youth, and I felt a sudden surge of pitying tenderness for the woman who had sacrificed love at the altar of success, now confronted with the monster of her own making. I remembered her letter. Some other tomorrow, she had said. Well, that tomorrow would have never come, although it still would have to believe. She has been with me now for over a month, and even on such days as this, her window is closed to the beauty of the world about her. While I potter among the roses in my garden, that brings me back a picture. A beautiful girl in a childish one-piece dress with an organdy sash fluttering in the breeze, and a travel-stained young man very much in love among the red and white flowers of a garden.